What's going on, guys? Your boy Maze. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over the part 2 for the must invest characters that you guys want to be building on your account so that you guys have fast progression, and it's going to be for newer / returning players. So let's hop into the video. Before we actually hop into the video, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to the 50,000 subscribers, guys. We are at 40,130 subscribers already on the YouTube channel, man. If you guys haven't hit that subscribe button already, man, definitely make sure to. And now we are on the road to that 50K. So with that out of the way, guys, let's hop in and go over the first character that's going to be a must invest on your account. Alright, guys, so we do have the Ragnarok tab pulled up here. Now, the reason why I have the Ragnarok tab is going to be very important because a lot of these characters are going to be super useful in the game for a lot of content that you can do. The first character we're going to be going over in this video, guys, is going to be Freya. Freya is a character that came out, I think, about a year and a half ago at this point, and he was such a good character for when he released because of what he's able to do. Alright, guys, so for the passive of Freya here, let's read what it actually has to offer. Divine Flames. Allies become immune to ignites, applies Blessing of Light, which increases all the hero's stats by 15% for 2 turns at the start of the ally's turn, then applies the same effect again every 2 turns, and increases all stats of the allies by 5% for 5 turns whenever Blessing of Light is removed. This passive is very, very good, guys, because it actually works in all content in the game, which is going to be the first thing that we want to notice here, and also the fact that you have immunity to ignites while also providing a supportive effect of giving all stats to your allies. Freya was already from his base, looking at his passive, a great character because he provided support while having hero all stats for himself so that he was able to deal good damage as well. Now, when we actually look at his skills here, guys, for his first skill here, he's going to have single target attack, but it's also going to have cancel stance on the rank 2 and rank 3, and this comes into play in a few of the demonic beast battles in the game where you definitely want to be using cancel stance. Also in PvP right now, when we look at the unknown team where you face like Albedos or even teams like the Sins team that have Queen Diane, having cancel stance is going to be great because that allows you to be able to remove the stance and then deal damage to one of the other characters on the enemy team. For his second skill here, guys, Freya is going to have the Cleave card. Now, Cleave is going to be additional damage equal to 75% of the critical damage minus 100%. So pretty much it's just acting like you're always critting, but you're doing a little bit less damage than what crits would normally do. So you're pretty much getting guaranteed crit, but with a little bit lower damage from the actual amount that crit would be. But inflicts cleave damage, which does not activate critical damage, equal to 200% of attack on one enemy, and it scales up to 500% of attack, guys, doing the exact same effect on the additional effect right there. And then, guys, moving on to Freya's ultimate here. This is one of the really good things about Freya is that he has the second death ultimate in the game. So the first character that actually did release with the Death Ultimate was going to be the one Escanor, and Death is such a really strong ability because it allows you to do double damage cap depending on the dupe level that you obviously have. If you're 6 out of 6, you're able to do the double damage cap. If you're a little bit less, you're able to do a damage cap and then a little bit more. But regardless, the fact that you're able to hit past a damage cap in PvE content or able to deal pretty much 2,160% of attack on the enemy right there at 6 out of 6 is going to be very, very strong, and it allows Freya to be useful in both PvP and PvE because of his ultimate and his passive being super valuable. Now, the one thing that actually made Freya become a absolutely insane character, guys, was when he got his Holy Relic. Freya's Holy Relic is very simple, but it's really good. But increases applicable allies' basic stats by 5% and damage dealt with single target attacks by 5% for each applicable ally on the battlefield, and the applicable allies can be Ragnarok allies or unknown race characters, and this actually can work in the backline if you do decide to run Freya in the back. Now, this is a very good Holy Relic because it gives viability to Freya when running him on the unknown team or even on the Ragnarok team in PvP because they needed extra stats, and also in PvE content you actually do get a little bit more stats for those characters, which allows them to deal a lot more damage and just tank a lot better in those fights. So overall, guys, Freya is one of those characters that I highly recommend a lot of you guys invest in, considering that pretty much all of his K here is completely covered and covers you for both PvP and PvE depending on the team that you actually are running. And Freya is a character that I highly recommend you guys build, especially when he's going to be a must run in Skull and Hadi because he has the allies Ignite Immune, which is going to be very important considering there's only him and Green Malasula that are characters that actually provide Ignite immunity specifically. Alright, guys, so moving on from Freya, now let's actually talk about his sister Freya. Now, the reason why Freya is such an important character here is because she's technically the first Nidhogg unit we actually did get in Grand Cross. Now, if you actually look at her Holy Relic here, guys, this is the first thing we're going to look at because this is what actually made her viable in the content. In Demonic Beast Battle Nidhogg, the hero's single target attacks have a cancel stance effect, increases all stats of allies by 4% every time the hero hero inflicts damage using skills up to 5 times. The hero is given additional race of goddess, which is affected by goddess's unique abilities, and if all allies on the battlefield are of goddess race, each goddess ally increases the hero's attack related stats by 10%, which is very, very good in Nidhogg. So if you guys know, Nidhogg is pretty much a goddess exclusive, fight where you bring pretty much fully goddess team, or you would bring like a full Ragnarok team, and Freya is on both of those teams because she acts as a Ragnarok character, or you can run her on the the goddess variant of the team. And so that's going to be really strong because of that, having this holy relic right there. It actually gives her a lot of viability in Nidhogg, which means she's going to be the main character that, when the actual fight did come out and she came out with this relic, she was actually going to be a very strong character when clearing for it, and made the fight a lot more easier than it initially was. For her passive here, guys, she's actually going to have increased the hero's attack related stats by 7% for every ally in the battlefield that are going to be Ragnarok characteristic. It also increases allies pierce rate by 4% for every debuff applied to the enemies up to 5 times, which means that Freya also acts as kind of like a supportive character while having the damage, increase for herself with the attack related stats. So she's going to be a very good character in that right when running her alongside the Ragnarok team or applying debuffs on the enemies. Alright guys, now looking at Freya's skills here, for her first skill, guys, she's going to have flood damage single target. This is going to be 0.8% additional damage for every percent of remaining HP on self. This goes from 200 all the way to 500% on the single target effect right there. And then moving on to her AoE skill, guys, she's going to have pierce AoE, which actually does go from 100% to 250% of attack, which is going to be tripling your pierce rate when using this skill. And then guys, for Freya's ultimate here, she actually does have a unique ultimate here, which is going to be Abyss and the wave effect. So it inflicts wave damage equal to 1350% of attack on all enemies, and the hero gains Abyss effect for 2 turns. This multiplier of damage, guys, at 6 out of 6 for Freya, I think is the strongest damage ultimate that actually is AoE. So this is the strongest AoE ultimate in the entire game, but the one thing that actually does kind of lower the damage of this effect is going to be the wave effect, which is going to be minus 20% damage dealt for every enemy on the battlefield. But the reason why this doesn't matter too much is because most of the time when you're using Freya, you're using her in PvE content, and because her ultimate is only going to be hitting 1 or 2 enemies at the most, you're not going to be, lowering too much of your damage, and so this ultimate does get the full benefit that it, it pretty much offers. For Abyss effect as well, guys, it's going to be additional damage equal to 50% of the damage dealt on all enemies at the start of the enemy's turn. Only applies the Abyss effect of the last hero used, so only if you have another Abyss character, it's obviously not going to work. But yeah, regardless, guys, even if this Abyss, even if the dupe levels on Freya is a little bit lower, she still has that Abyss effect, which does give you a little bit damage past a damage cap in PvE, and that gives her a lot of viability when using her on the other demonic beasts. Even if you're going to be using her on like Skull and Hadi or Bird or even Deer, she's still a really good character, and even though she's made for Nidhogg specifically, she can work on those other demonic beast battles as well. Alright guys, so some other characters that I definitely do want to mention are going to be the other demonic beast battle exclusive characters. So we have Miguela, Jormungand, and Thar. Let's briefly go over these characters and explain why these characters are going to be super valuable for your account. Miguela, the reason why she's going to be super valuable is because at her base kit right here in the Bird demonic beast battle, every time an ally's remaining HP is full, applies 1 effect on the hero, which increases all stats by 8% for 5 turns, stacking up to 5 times. This effect is very good because it actually helps your allies in the Bird demonic beast battle gain all stats effects, which can be really good for an amplified base team. If you guys haven't seen my video on the Bird demonic beast guide, definitely make sure to check it out, man. But I pretty much explained in that video why Miguela is super valuable, and having this passive allows you to give your allies a bunch of all stats increases, which is going to be really good when running, like Trader Melly or even Albedo, because they have amplified base damage, which means for every all stats buff that you do gain from Miguela, it's going to be boosting their damage. And then if we actually look at Miguela's holy relic as well, when the hero uses a recovery skill in the Bird demonic beast battle, removes 1 debuff from allies and then applies 1 effect on the hero, which increases all stats by 8% for 5 turns, stacking up to 5 times, but it does not stack on top of the unique ability. So pretty much this holy relic allows you to pretty much get that full max out on your passive a lot quicker, because it procs on using the recovery skill while actually filling up your HP, so you can get 2 stacks in 1 turn, whereas before you were only able to get 1 stack in a turn. So that's pretty much the value that Miguela has. She also does have a rejuvenation skill, guys, which is going to be the main way you heal up to increase your HP of your allies. And then she also does coincide with her own passive, having amplify, which is going to increase your damage dealt per active buff on herself. And then another thing as well, guys, is that Miguela does have a power strike ultimate, and this is very good for the Bird because the Bird has a very strong phase where on phase 4 of floor 1 he actually is very, very tanky, and you need cards like power strike to actually deal damage to the boss. And so having an ultimate that applies power strike is going to be very good, good because it actually is able to do a damage cap on that phase. Alright guys, now looking at like Yingan here, she's going to be the one that's made for the Deer Demonic Beast. Now if you actually look at her passive here, at the start of every turn in Demonic Beast battle, Yingan applies an effect on all allies which increases all stats by 30% for 2 turns. If 3 allies each use skills once or more, the same effect is applied to all allies again, and then the effect is removed from heroes whose skills use effect is applied. Effect applies once per condition, so Yingan's pretty much able to give you 60% all stats. Now Yingan before her Holy Relic is already very good, obviously giving you 60% all stats just by attacking with 3 different characters, which you're going to be doing anyway when you color cycle. But what makes Yingan super broken on top of this passive is actually her Holy Relic, where it's going to remove debuffs from allies and increase ranks of all these skills when each of the 3 allies use 1 or more skills in the Demonic Beast battle Yingan. So pretty much what that means is that you get a rank up while getting your damage increase because you have these 60% all stats and cleansing debuffs as well. So if you do get like infected, if you do get like bleed, poison, shocked, right, if you get any debuff in you know, the Yingan Demonic Beast battle that affects you, you're actually gonna be able to cleanse that while ranking up and getting increased damage dealt and you know, tanking abilities because of the all stats. And then Yingan also is gonna have a buff cancel and you know, stance cancel card, guys, with also a healing a card as well, which is gonna allow you know, the character that is the lowest HP threshold to actually get healed from this single target skill that Yingan's able to do. And then the final thing here, guys, is that Yingan's gonna increase allies damage dealt depending on the dupe level, which is gonna be strong in Yingan as well, because you're gonna be cycling, you know, through the color cycle where you do like, you know, ultimate with Yingan, and then you'll do like, you know, blue, red, green, right? You'll follow up with the green, you know, blue, red, green, right? That kind of that color combo right there, and you'll start with Yingan ult, which will increase the damage dealt of every other attack that follows up after her initial hit. Alright guys, and then moving on to Thar here, which is going to be the character for the Skull and Haughty Demonic Beast battle. If we actually look at her passive here, in Skull and Haughty Demonic Beast battle, increases the hero's damage dealt when using their ultimate by 200%, and increases allies damage dealt when using single target attacks by 30%, increases the allies attack related stats by 40% for 3 turns every 3 times they inflict damage on the enemies, which is going to be very good because in Skull and Haughty you really just need damage to be able to get through the phases super quickly, and that's what Thar is able to provide with the single target damage dealt and the 40% attack related stat increase. Moving on to Thar's Holy Relic here, guys, she actually is going to both increase allies HP related stats by 10% up to 4 times, and fills allies ultimate move gauge by 1 orb whenever the hero uses skills in the Skull and Haughty Demonic Beast battle, which is going to coincide super well with the, you know, the Deer Demonic Beast card set, because that card set is going to allow you to get immunity to freeze at maximum ultimate move gauge, which, you know, this Thar Holy Relic is actually pushing you up to that maximum ultimate move gauge so that you have, you know, immunity to the freeze. And also getting another ultimate is obviously going to be very strong, considering that Thar's ultimate itself is actually increased by 200% of you know, a damage increase, and everyone else on the team is going to be hitting very, very hard as well. Now looking at Thar's skills, guys, Thar does have a cancel stance single target skill right here, and then she's also going to have a gauge reduction effect as well, which is going to be really strong on the fight. And then looking at her ultimate here, it's not going to be made for the fight because it's a weak point skill, but remember, her passive makes up for it by increasing the effect of the weak point skill by 200% additional damage. So you're pretty much doubling the amount of damage that ult would normally do, which makes it pretty much worth, you know, using anyway. Alright guys, so that's pretty much all the characters that I wanted to cover on the Ragnarok tab today. Now let's actually go over to the 7 Deadly Sins tab, guys, and talk about one character that I think is one of the best PvE characters in the entire game, guys. So if you actually go to the 7 Deadly Sins category here, guys, if we go to Trader Meliodas, the most recent free character that was actually given out, Trader Melly is one of the best characters released in Grand Cross's history because of how potent he is in all the content in the game other than PvP. He's mainly made for PvE content, considering what he's capable of doing nowadays. So if we actually look at Trader Melly's passive here, every time allies use single target attack skills, all of the hero stats increase by 6% for 3 turns, stacking up to 5 times. If 2 or more single target skills are used in a single turn, allies damage taken from enemies decreases by 8%, stacking up to 40%. So pretty much, guys, Trader Melly acts as a damage dealer while also being a support character for the team, giving them damage reduction and keeping the actual damage dealt increase from getting the all stats, while also getting a lot tankier with that as well. So Trader Melly is going to be very, very strong because he increases his own all stats while giving damage reduction to the entire team, and this works in all content in the game. Remember that, guys. It's going to be very important because you can use it in any demonic beast battle. You can use it in any PvE content. You can use it in any PvP if you want to try him, and it's very, very good, right? Looking at the rest of Trader Melly's skills here as well, guys, he's gonna have amplify single target, which obviously coincides super well with his passive, you know, giving those heroes all stats. And then we have actually go at his AoE skill, which is gonna be Pierce, just like you know, Freya there, where she has the exact same Pierce card. Pierce is just a really strong effect in the game that, you know, when using this skill, it's gonna be dealing a lot of damage. And then if we actually look at Trader Melly's ultimate here, guys, this is one of the strongest ultimates in the game even till this day. For the actual ultimate here, it's going to remove buffs and stances from the enemies, then decrease all stats by 30% for 2 turns, inflicts cleave damage which does not result in critical strike, equal to 585% of attack, and at the higher dupe level that Meliodas is, the additional damage is actually equal to 100% of the crit damage minus 100% at 6 out of 6, which means that you're guaranteed critting pretty much, but you're not critting. So you're doing the damage you would have done when critting, but you're not actually critting, and this is really strong because it doesn't take into account the enemy's critical defense because that's not being affected. You're not critting. So this card is pretty much at 6 out of 6 going to be a team-wide wipe. You know, it's going to be a complete you know, nuke on the enemy team, which is why this ultimate is very strong, and also has the utility of being able to remove buffs and stances. So yeah, guys, that pretty much covers all the characters in this video that I wanted to recommend you guys build. These are all characters that work mainly in the PvE side of the game. Let me know if you guys want to see a part 3 talking about specifically PvP characters that we want to be talking about. So that's going to be that for the video, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of the characters I recommended. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always, guys, and we're going to see you guys in the next video, man. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.